Chapter 6. Okay, in chapter 6, the first thing that is mentioned is that the Lamb, that is Jesus, the crucified and resurrected Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, the Lamb, he has opened the first seal, and John is called to see what happens at the first seal, at the opening of the first seal. He says, "Come and see." And he sees a white horse. And who has a white horse? Jesus has a white horse. He who sits on this horse has a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Even though this is a white horse, the rider of the horse, he who sits on the horse, is clearly not Jesus, because it says he is holding a bow, and we know that a bow represents false peace. It's sort of peace, like I don't want to shoot you with arrows, so I will take the arrows away, but I still have a bow. You never know. It's not peace. It's not completely peace. It's a false peace. And this rider is given is given dominion. He's going forth conquering and to conquer, because he's given a crown. So this is clearly the Antichrist. He is on a white horse, like a type of Jesus. Jesus has also a white horse, but clearly this man is not Jesus. This is the Antichrist, and he is the first to come on the scene when the tribulation starts with the first seal. And how do we know that? That this man is the Antichrist. We can read in Daniel chapter 9, 10 and 11. Daniel 11 from verse 21 to the end. 21 to the end of Daniel 11. There the Antichrist is described, and you can read all about it, what he would do, how he comes to power. And 21 says, because in chapter 11 of Daniel, Daniel sees all the empires that are to come after him, and also that came starting from Darius, I believe. He sees Alexander the Great. He sees the kings of Medes and Persia. He sees the kings of Grecia, and he sees Roman kings, and then he sees this 7th or 8th person, and it says, and in and in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. So he will come like, yeah, he has he comes with flatterings, with peace. I will give you peace, but it's all false. And then he goes, it goes into more details what he will conquer, who will come against him. He will defeat all, and it ends with. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain. That's Jerusalem, I believe. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. So I advise you to, if you want to read Daniel 11 on this Antichrist from verse 21, and then in chapter 12 of Daniel you read more about the tribulation. And what I would love to refer to, I could do that later on. The second seal. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard a second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red. The first horse was white. This horse is red, and power was given to him that sat thereon, to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. So we see with this red horse, the peace is taken out of the world. The little peace we had, we have now, is completely taken out of the earth, and we are immediately given a clue what that would mean. And it says, and that they should kill one another. So this is not war. This red horse, I always thought it is war, but it is not war. It is civil war, most likely, or just people going about stealing things from houses. I think there will be people in that time, because there will be food shortage. They will go from door to door to look what is in the houses to eat, to drink, and kill people. They will kill one another. They will go insane, I believe. So this is not the war. I think the war, World War III, will come, I believe, and that is, you can read that in, let's see, you can read that in, on the top of my head, Ezekiel 38. Let's see if that's correct. Ezekiel Ezekiel 37 is about the valley of the dry bones. We know now, looking back, that this is a vision of the Holocaust, I believe, because these dry bones are prophesied to, that they will live and become a great army, and they have. when the war ended after the Holocaust, the Jews looked literally like dried bones. They looked dead, and miraculously they took over the land like that. After going through such a horrible thing. And I think that is Ezekiel 37, and then you have Ezekiel 38, and it talks about the war of Gog and Magog, and it goes on into chapter 39. You can read that for yourself. Perhaps no, I will not do a video on that, but I love to read into these things. But the war of Gog and Magog will probably be before the tribulation starts. And what also goes with that, I believe, is the fact that the Antichrist will come with the tribulation will start. The starting point of the tribulation is the signing of the 7-year treaty. It's a peace treaty that is signed, and that is, and in the middle the treaty is broken, of the covenant is broken. The Antichrist breaks that covenant, and after 3.5 years, but it is signed for 7 years, for a period of 7 years, and most likely the war is before that, so that he can come with a peace treaty. Otherwise, a peace treaty to me doesn't make very much sense. But there has to be something, war, there has to be a war before the Antichrist, I believe, before the Antichrist comes on the scene. I would love to do, but I'm not called to do that. I love to look into the word, and I love to teach, but the Lord has not called me to do that. He told me only to do this, the Revelation, the book of Revelation, so I will stick to that. Of course he can tell me to do other things also, but for as now, no, I haven't heard anything, so I'm not doing it. Let's see. So the second horse, the red one, is not war, it's more like civil war. And then you have the third seal, and there is a black horse, and he that sat on that horse had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see that thou hurt not the oil and the wine. I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds to me like famine, and it sounds to me like bread is going to be very expensive, and it sounds to me like oil and wine. I immediately think of the rich. Wine, oil. The rich will not be really hurt in this, I think. Perhaps I could be wrong, of course, but these are my thoughts on this. And then you have the fourth seal, and you have that pale greenish horse. and he that sat on it was death, and hell followed him. And power was given unto them, dus to death and hell, over a fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, with hunger, with death, and with the beasts of the earth. A fourth part of people will die. I don't know how, but we are told by sword, by hunger, by death, and by beasts of the earth. And then the fifth seal, and I saw under the altar the souls of them which were slain from the word of God, and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also are, and their brethren that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. The martyrs, you see then the martyrs, and they are in heaven. It's a scene in heaven. John saw a scene in heaven when the fifth seal opened. Want it says I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God. Yeah. Okay. So the fifth seal has something to do with the martyrs. People who will die, or who had died because of the name of the Lord, because of their faith in Jesus. And there will be more coming. That's what this seals represents. And what it is in detail, I don't know. Perhaps with time we will understand more, and more will be revealed to us, surely. One other thing I would love to comment on is that they are given white robes, and that to me is like a resurrection scene. It's, I don't know, we are given white robes when we go to heaven, or when we resurrect. I don't know. That's what I think. That's just a comment. I don't know. Okay. The sixth seal. There was a great earthquake, and the sun became black, and the sackcloth of hair as a sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth an untimely fig, when she is taken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll, when it is rolled together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman, hid themselves in the dens, and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? A lot of information. Later in this book, you see the same things happen. In the second half of the tribulation, you see these things happen. You see that earthquakes, a great earthquake happens, it takes place, and the sun and the moon and the stars, things happen to them, and the heaven is opened, and the mountains and islands moved out of their places. This is like a scene on earth at the end of the tribulation. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, these seals that are opening, it's like, oh, it's the beginning. It is the beginning, but I think it's a summary of the 7 years. We go into the 6 seals, but there are 7. There's one more to come, but we will go into that later. For now, thank you very much for listening.